Welcome back, musical architects. In music, sometimes off is on. Sometimes it doesn't sound as interesting if we are singing perfectly correct. It sounds better to be slightly bit off. Especially true when we layer instruments. Think of a choir. When 20 people sing just a bit different, it creates that rich choir effect. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate this with the simple effect of creating a clap track. I'm going to stack some real claps with MIDI claps and correct them just enough so they sound full and tight, but not drain the life out of them. Let's take a look. When we have a new tool, we tend to overuse it. Think of vocal production. If you are learning about vocal correction, you might correct it, everything, and then it loses its character, its flair. The same could be true for certain quantizations. And for me, a big example is claps. They never seem right when they are perfectly quantized. Why is that? I think because we're used to claps, hearing them in a group of people that all clap a bit off. It's the same idea that a choir sounds big because everybody sings slightly different, has a bit of a different timbre, or violins in an orchestra. That's the big sound, the slight offness. Just not so much that the brain recognizes it as a mistake. So the same with claps. I have this track that could use a clap track, and I added some MIDI claps, but it wasn't quite satisfying, so I wanted to add a couple of real claps. I want to show you quick how to correct them but not overcorrect them so they sound together like a group of people. So number one, let's play the groove real quick. I'm going to play it with the bass and the drums without the clap. That could sound cool if I had a bit of a clap. So I'm going to add these MIDI claps that I played via keyboard. And they sound already quite like a group of people. And if you look closely, I actually didn't quantize them. So they are slight ahead of time. And because maybe the sample takes a millisecond to kick in, they sound quite alright. If I wanted to tighten it up, I would maybe quantize them, but not perfectly. So if I go 8 note and make them tight, you see that they just moved onto the line. That might be good for an electronic track sometimes, but if I want to go a little less, I can gradually quantize them at a percentage called strength. So 50, 70%, 80% might be sounding better than perfectly on. And maybe my second clap could be a slightly different sound and maybe slightly different quantization. Unlike most drums when we want to have the same, here I choose maybe a little different. To make the real claps sound good, there's a couple things to consider. If you record yourself and you have only 2 hands, 6 tracks will not sound that different, so you will have to try to hit it a little differently so that one clap sounds a little lighter, brighter, and the other one a bit darker, to make it emulate real people. Or get some people in and just record a couple claps. So let's say I recorded a couple different ones and they sound slightly different. So here, darker. I try to be different people. If I listen to them, that's how sloppy I clapped. They're definitely a little too sloppy for my taste. If I play them against a MIDI track, it's maybe just a bit too loose for me. So what are we going to do? We're going to quantize them, but not fully quantize them. Command F turns on flex time. I put them into slicing mode. If I would make them perfect, I also lose something. If I go here, 8 notes, yes, they're perfect. They sound too on top of each other. So I will have to go a little more gradually than that. I quantized this one at 70%. And I like the feeling, so I want to have a similar feel on this. I'm going to try 2 ways. Why not creating a so-called groove template? Make a groove template. of the clap that we did in MIDI, and then go to the clap in audio and apply that and see if that works. Clap 1 is now that groove template we chosen, or we created, and now it should have aligned the blue audio clap to the green one. Or I could really go and do this manually by checking and listening and see where does it feel too off. If I want to move everything to the right, I would make one flex marker. But then other things might go off that are correct. So I'm going to do a triple marker if you click in the lower half and just see if I can nudge them. Put them back together and see. And I do this until I have a sound I like. Once I got my audio claps aligned, I'm gonna submix them. If you need to know more information about submixing, I just did a video on submixing backing vocals, but the same applies. If you have multiple instruments playing the same thing, why not making a stereo mix of that file so you don't have to deal with all these files? So I fixed them, corrected them, I solo, I send them to a bus. I'm going to add a little compression, or in this case a little overdrive, actually an EQ. I made them a bit brighter, and then I'm going to Command B and submix them. I add it to project, and I'm going to call this clap mix revision, and I will hit F and find them at the bottom of my list. Scroll down to the bottom, drag them in. In this case, let's put this MIDI clip back up. I'm gonna Option C color code these guys so I can find them later on. I turn off my original claps, and so now I have just a mix. And I will see if this works together with the MIDI claps. Oops, you can see my bus effects are still on my EQ. That's not... Very good. And let's put this against the beat. And with a couple other instruments, put in the bass and the guitars. And there we go. I hope this helps you in the process of quantization. Don't just make it perfect. Listen and see what sounds good in the track. Sometimes it's only a certain amount of quantization or none at all. Okay, let me know how this works, and I see you next time. Have a good day. Stay creative. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I hope this made sense and gives you the tools and skills to edit things very quickly in the future without spending much time and messing up your song. If you want to dig deeper, feel free to check out my Udemy course, where I start from the very beginning of writing a song to the end of production and take you step by step through the process. Thanks so much and have a great day. No matter what, stay unapologetically creative.